This is our smaller size of gravity stick. Our original was a 140mm basically, and I said pretty soon after we made them, I said, could we please start working on a smaller size? We settled on 120mm to base it around a 4.0 weedless hook, and I don't know about you, I have very strong memories of sort of rushing around shops and fishing shows, looking at all these different soft plastics, and I never knew which hook goes with which lure. So I said, look, please, can we make sure to include the right size weedless hook in with the lure? So you can't go wrong basically. So we've got, one with a belly weight, one without, slightly larger eye, again, as with the larger ones, you can put a, you can put a lure clip in there, because I really like using lure clips. And look, I obsess about soft plastics. We've got the paddle tail, pulse tail, pin tail. Now the paddle tail is, you can't go wrong. Put it on, whack it out, wind it in. But I will tend to default, quite rightly, to the belly weight hook, okay? When you're using the paddle tail and you've got calm conditions, or it might be very shallow, do mess around with what I call the naked hook, the one that has no weight on, because this paddle tail, it's got a very high salt content deliberately, okay? And look at the shape, it's got a slightly more bulbous back end. This thing flies, okay? So when you want to go even shallower, even slower maybe, don't be afraid to muck around with the naked weedless hook. Obviously the belly weight works really well. Then the pulse tail. Pulse tail is really interesting, okay? Really, way more interesting than I initially thought when we first started talking about it, because very deliberately, a paddle tail, the whole body is meant to move. Pulse tail, when you watch that in the water, the body essentially is hardly moving. It's just that tail pulsing. Now this, for me, that is my ultimate night fishing lure. For sure I use them in the daytime a lot, whack them out, wind them in, but nighttime, I don't know what it is about the pulse tail, absolutely slays. I think it's the more subtle action, and it works very well on the drop as well. When you stop the lure dead, get a level sink and it drops. And the pulse tail is the longest casting out of all three. If you want to cover a lot of water, they all cover a lot of water anyway. The pulse tail absolutely flies. It's so minimal, such a minimal wind resistance on the tail. Then the pin tail is your classic kind of twitch stick. This thing, and I've played with this lure probably more than any other lure, because I think it can be fished in so many different ways. But if I was to say to you fish it in one way, I would say grab our belly weight hook, whack it out, twitch, pause, twitch, pause. That kind of retrieve, and it will go boom, boom, and it falls on a level sink. But you can also, I suppose I call it S-curl it. I found this out completely by mistake. I was trying again, I call it work, okay? I'm testing lures, I'm actually going fishing, but I can call it work technically. And I whacked it out, reel in really fast and stop. You get this kind of S-curve like that, and then it drops. And I swear, first time I did it properly, whacked it out, ripped it hard on the S, that sort of S swim, that S curve, stopped it, and it goes like that. Bang, out of bass, about £5. It's honestly, it's deadly, but you've got to trust that, we want to whack everything and wind it in, me included. But sometimes when you twitch and you pause and those bass, sometimes they want to hit things on the drop.